Hey, welcome. Thanks for joining us today. My name is Jeff Lobb, SparkTank Media. Thanks for being patient. We're broadcasting live here from webinar style and also live on web stream on Facebook Live. So I'm here with a great guest today, Jerry DeMaio from Family First Funding. Welcome, Jerry. How are you?
I'm doing great, Jeff. Great to see you again. This is our yearly visit.
It's like a yearly visit. Although we see each other much more often.
Correct.
The topic today is fantastic because really everyone wants to know what's just working. So these are the top strategies of what's working in, marketing, tech, lead gen, lead capture. And we're going to give you like at least 4, 5, 6 maybe nuggets of things that are actually working, how they're working, why they're working. So I would absolutely pay attention to this one. So, Jer, you've had tremendous success with a lot of these systems and a lot of part of what you're doing. But you've also faced a lot of challenges. I mean, you've literally doubled your business in production, which is fantastic. Congratulations.
Thank you.
But it took some of the systems to make that happen. I see we got Jesse on board. Jesse's joining us today. Hey, Jess, what's going on, Jesse? From our friends at Call Action. So let's talk about some of the problems you had and then some of the solutions. And your first one, I think, was you're just overwhelmed with like inbound leads, right?
Yeah, I do a lot of different things, and this brings us ultimately into Call Action, which was a little early. I get 5 million things a day online, on Facebook, on everything that's saying, do you want more leads? Can we get you more leads? Let's get more leads. Let's you want to buy this town, you want to buy this county,
Right.
You want to be our preferred lender in New Jersey. And I get phone calls like nonstop. But no one until I found Call Action, no one actually out there says, listen, let me help you work the leads that you have coming in better.
Okay.
And I don't know about all the other realtors or more everybody else's challenges, but my biggest challenge is, and the busier I get, the more challenging it becomes.
That's right.
Is to stay in front of and continue working with the people who aren't hot right this minute.
That's right.
Because
Which is the majority.
Hot, I'm going to close. If you're hot, I'm going to close. I'm going to close you if you're hot. If you're hot and you're willing to come into my office and you're willing to come meet, I'm going to close you. It's the person that's not that hot.
So let's talk about though the leads that came in though. I mean, look, you had an influx of inbound leads from Zillows and from events you were doing and just from website stuff. And you had all these leads. And the challenge was, first of all, did you have time to get back to them? All of them?
Correct. No, and you and I have discussed before old email drip campaign strategies.
Right.
Are old.
Yeah.
are old. And I think they were probably good 10 years ago when people were still like saying, hey, what a cool thing. And now I know when I'm getting dripped.
Right.
Like I delete those. Like
sometimes dripping, if you will, on somebody isn't necessarily lead conversion. That's kind of the challenge is, what's the system that's going to help not just drip and annoy people? It's what are the systems that are going to turn into money, conversion, and conversation is half the battle. And we did, one of the things we talked about was a solution called Call Action, which has been in business for years. I know when they first started the companies, Jesse is a fantastic entrepreneur. And we had to actually use that system to input it into your challenge and just share with us, how did it help solve some of those problems?
Well, it started solving some of those problems, and we started using it with Zillow leads coming in only. And remember, I'm the loan officer, I am a loan officer and a co-marketer. I'm not the, I don't know how you call it, but I'm not the actual contractee like the realtor is. I'm sort of on the back.
Right.
And what I've been able to use it for over the last probably 10 months to a year is follow up with these people. say, hey, my realtor's setting up appointments for you this weekend. Are you available to see, and seamlessly stay in touch with these people who we're struggling to stay in front of after they make their initial call.
And also
their initial reach out.
When leads come in automatically, if you're sitting in a meeting right now and you and I were doing business and you're writing up my loan and we're taking care of business and you're fully focused on me, right. And if 5 leads came in right now, the system would automatically reach out to them and start a conversation.
That's correct. That's exactly right. Right.
So,
and I know it works with phone calls. It works with, text messages. There's a lot of great things with the system. And honestly, I'm still evolving on everything we're going to talk about today, Jeff. It's all constantly a work in progress.
Right.
Like, I haven't perfected anything. And as soon as I feel like I've perfected something, it changes.
Yeah.
Like, it changes. So go ahead, Jeff.
No, it's all right. I got a couple people on Facebook or messaging me saying, hey, they I guess it must have buffered, took a few extra minutes. Just wanted to know what our topic was. Just for those joining us, I'm here with Jerry DeMaio, Family First Funding, talking about strategies that work, meaning technology, systems, marketing, and stuff, not just for the loan officer business. This applies to real estate, title, inbound leads, and other marketing ideas. And we're going to cover at least 5 to 6 good ones. And we're talking like straight up reality of what problems were, how we solved them through our coaching, through Jerry's solutions, through his business. And the first challenge, which we're talking about now, is inbound leads. Had too many of them. Not all are going to respond. Not all are going to be ready. And your one solution was call action, where it starts the conversation. The one thing I think I became a little bit of a customer. I use call action myself for my own business, for even different strategies. From last night, I was using it that when I got done with the presentation, people want my information. Well, I could wait and email them all and put them in some drip campaign, but no, when do they want information, Jerry?
They want it now.
Right now, right? Right now. So I just put out a text code and go, hey, text your email address to this number. Boom, you get it instantly. And out went 100, of my presentations, but in came to me 800 email addresses, which now I can have the opportunity to talk to and market to at a later time. So how's it working for you on a day-to-day now?
On a day-to-day, listen, I'm still struggling with the older leads. It's still my biggest challenge. And when you end up having to prioritize your day, and you're trying to prioritize your day, you say, okay, well, Tom, I think he's on the call. Tom called me today. He needs a prequel on this guy. And Joe called and he needs a prequel on this one. And Gabrielle called and she needs a prequel on this one. And this guy's coming in at 6 and this guy coming in at 6. Where did the old leads? What happened with my old leads? Right.
And I love the conversation of dead, meaning people put leads into a dead bucket. Like, okay, they didn't call me back. So I'll ask not only just you, let's just ask the audience itself. And I know the answer. Look at your leads over the past 12 to 18 months. The stuff that never called back, the Zillow stuff that never emailed you back. They may have either bought something already or may still be looking. The question is what have you done with them? And what can you do with them in the next couple months? Because you haven't touched or reached out to them. You've given up.
Yeah.
So you need systems to put that in place to start talking to them again.
Yep.
So it's a constant battle. So
constant battle. I'm waiting. Listen, I'd love to sit down and put a system together that works on staying in touch with old leads, and following up and putting something together, because I think that's the most valuable thing that we all need in this business. Is how to stay in touch with people that we either close the deal for before, which we have some pretty good solutions for that these days, to be honest, but simple solutions for that. But old leads, people we closed years ago, how are we staying in the front of their minds? Right.
And there's money there. So what were some of the success? You had some really high percentages of conversations that got started. I remember you gave me a number. I don't recall.
Yeah, listen, I was getting, and what they mean by respond is, at one point I was at 80% response rate, meaning they actually got back to me. I'm listening. This is probably G-rate. One of them could have been, F you, leave me alone. I don't know who you are. Like
Okay.
that, but at
But they
least
responded. Fair enough.
they responded.
Right.
But that wasn't the majority of it. Honestly, that was very few and far between.
Right.
But the people would respond. And in fact, a lot of times they said, oh, here's the thing. The biggest one, yes, we'd like to go tonight.
Huh.
Like,
a house
yes,
or a
we'd like to
property.
go see that tonight.
Right.
Yes, we'd like to go see that tonight. Because the majority, and listen, I know how my own life is, and I'm hot on something right this minute. And 3 hours later, that person calls me back, and I struggle remembering what I called them about.
and that's
Like,
3 hours, right? It's 3 hours.
3 hours later, and I'm like, I know it was really important, but my day's been really busy. I know it was really important. It was really important when I called you, but now I need a minute to refresh my memory to why it was so important that I called you 3 hours ago. And that's, I think that's human nature.
Well, look, you told me a story, and I think it's relevant time to just share it now. Is tell me
Sure.
the story. You were in a car Uber ride.
So 3 days ago,
Listen to this.
I had to drop car off at the shop, and I took an Uber. I took an Uber from the shop.
Yep.
And I was in the car with the Uber driver, and I said, "Where do you live?" He says, "Oh, I live in this town. I live here too." He says, "Oh, I just bought." I said, "Oh, I'm from Woodbridge." He said, "Oh, I lived in Woodbridge too. I just sold my house and I moved here." And being in the business, I go, "So who did you use? What company?" And he was like, I don't know. He said, "They did a wonderful job. I was so happy. They sold my house in a month and a half, and I found another house. We were so happy." And I said, "Well, what was the company?" He said, "Oh," he says, "they do a lot." And I threw the company's name out there. He said, "Oh, that's the company." I said, "Well, who was your agent?" He said, "Well, it was a woman." And I said, "Well," so we narrowed it down. And he said, "It was a woman." And I said, "So what was her name?" Listen, I know this office really well. I said, "Well, what was her name?" And again, I don't want to put her name out there, but he said, "What was her name?" And I said the name. And he says, "Oh, that was her." And then I said, "Well, who did your mortgage?" He said, and then I threw out a name. And he says, "Oh, that was it." So 2 months later, a guy who was extremely happy with the service, doesn't even remember who he used.
That's right. That's how bad not only our attention span, that's how much noise there is in the universe right now, is we can't remember. You never mind who sold me the house 2 years ago. It's even 2 months ago sometimes. We're just that busy of stuff. So I think that's a fabulous solution. So your first really good takeaway strategy, helping get conversations started, call actions work for you. It's still a work in progress. Fantastic solution for that.
And while we have that, one of the great ways to stay in front of people is to ask for reviews.
Yeah, there you go.
Is to be asking for reviews. It's one way for them. I mean, listen, I've got a lot of ways to keep people in front of you, but asking for reviews is one great way to do that. Certainly in the beginning.
Right.
And you've helped me a lot with that, Jeff. I mean, we've done great things with that, and having the reviews is a wonderful tool. When I talk to people for the first time right now, I hit a text and I send them out my Google reviews.
Yep.
You're like, boom. I said, "Listen, you don't have to listen to what I said. Just check me out online. I'm going to send you a link and check me out. Find out what people are saying."
Well, there comes another strategy, and let's be honest, and this is something I look from a sales perspective, and even if you're in real estate, you're looking at winning listings, you're looking at, winning someone to be confident in you to do their loan. But when you build up, and you've built up over, let's say, 100 reviews on Google and more, you'll probably double that next year or triple that next year. But you get to a point where some of the times the competitive scale is so weak, you could literally just say, and this isn't like being cocky or nothing, it's just, "Listen, with all due respect, Mr. Customer, just Google me. Go check out my reviews. Let that speak for itself, because you've built the reputation online, and you're confident in that because it's not you that has spoken. It's been your customers that have spoken.
Yeah.
And who better to talk? So getting your reviews, leveraging systems and call action. Let's talk about a hot button. Before I share one of my cool strategies, we've had a deep conversation with Family First Funding as a company and some of the real estate agents at large now with people, the new inbound stuff with Zillow leads, and how that shifted. And it depends on what market you're in, of course. it may be rolling out at different phases, but the shift from, hey, you're going to get email leads to you're going to get a warm phone call transfer. I'm going to ask your opinion on some things that's worked, but I'm going to tell you the feedback that hits automatically. Initially, no one likes change.
Right.
Agents don't like change, which is part of the problem in the industry. But when I was getting 50 or 100 leads a month, let's say for my team, and sometimes they can't even answer when I ask the question to a lot of my coaching clients, well, where are those 100? What's the conversion on those 100 leads? They don't know. They just know, oh, I'm feeding my team. That doesn't make us money. Feeding is great, but conversion and transactions are better. But I went from 100 to now I'm only getting 9 or 10 warm transfer calls. And I'm hearing, oh, well, that sucks. Part of my language. I'm only getting 9 or 10. So there's a variable of difference. Do I want 100 things and I have to nurture for the next 6 months? Or do I want a real person to talk to? And am I good enough to convert whoever's answering the phone? So you've had agents, and I know we won't mention names, but you got agents that are both you getting a lot of leads and some less. But what's their feeling of pros and cons of this system shift?
Well, we've only been here in New Jersey we're in our first month of
of it transitioning, correct?
Of the transition, we're in the first month of the transition. So, initially the feedback is, oh, we were getting a lot more leads before, and we're not getting as many now. And I think we've switched our feeling a little bit. Again, 1 month in, so we don't have statistics to prove anything yet in this process. But we feel like we're out on more appointments right away with the people that are calling, and we're getting out there right away and getting more appointments pretty quickly.
Okay.
This.
Well, isn't that half the battle?
Big part of the battle, because how many, and I know for me too, how many in the old system did we get in, and the agents or myself or all that, I've called them 30 times and I've texted them every time, and they're never calling me back. Right. So at least I know with the new system, we're getting one shot, definitely,
to talk to them,
to reeling them in.
Right.
So probably something where before we were working on, in some cases, our skills with email marketing, texting, all those things. Now a real big skill in this industry is how to like there needs to be coaching on this first call coaching, how to reel them in. Like first call, like you get that first call, because this isn't cold calling, you're getting the call.
That's right.
So it's not cold.
And sure enough, look, nothing's perfect either. I'm sure there's no perfect handoff or transition. Right. I'm sure there's bumps in all of it. But the goal has to be is whoever does take that call needs to be good on the phone, needs to be prepared, needs to be at least ready to get like and trust and rapport built. That's what's going to get you the appointment. It's and just helping understand what they're looking for. So the debate,
and the truth with all of it is, because and my friend Tom, Tom and Jerry, so Tom and I actually talk this way, because listen, we talk a million times a day, and I talk with a lot of my agents all the time. Is because I need to have my finger on what's going on out there. I want to hear it. This is why I talk to you, why I talk to everybody. I need to know what's going on in the market. I need to be, right on top of it. And I tell you what, Tom is as super a guy you're going to get first time on the, but what I'm finding is, what? It's a little strict, because we all have different skill sets.
That's right.
And there's one person who is going to be the best person in the world ever with someone on the phone, with someone on the phone, and reeling them in and making them love them and all that stuff. But and Tom will tell you the truth, but Tom's not the best technology guy all the time.
Right.
For the ones that I need to be staying in touch with all the time after that. Tom will say that to you. Listen, it's not my strength either.
Right.
So we all have our strengths. So part of me thinks sometimes that we almost want one person that answers the phone all the time, reeling them in, and then someone that like part of it, and maybe that's something, like different strategies behind this, because this is a learning process and a learning curve here, and the goal is to he who masters it first is going to be the one that makes the most money.
That's true. So just real quick, yes or no, your personal preference, a warm phone call or inbound email leads? What's your preference right now? Call it today.
Warm phone call.
Warm phone call. Okay, good. That's your call.
Warm phone call.
For those who are listening, sometimes you got people answering the phone for you, or you might have a team that's the phone call is going to your team. And while that might be good, the only thing I want to caution you is make sure whoever takes that call is good on the phone. That's all that matters. So don't just think I'm just going to share it to my team. Not everyone on your team may be all equal. So really good point there. I had a really good aha moment yesterday with a group. I was speaking up the Massachusetts Association of Realtors last night. I can't even speak today. Up in Worcester. Worcester. You have to learn how to say that when you're up there. Worcester. And so one of the things I always like to talk about is strategies about another strategy I like that's been working, even for me, besides real estate agents, and also one that's been really misconstrued has been retargeting campaigns. Meaning, how do I retarget people? How do I stay in front of them? And I talk about the AdWorks system that I use. And I heard a lot of people before my talk yesterday saying, oh, yeah, I've been using AdWorks. I'm thinking about, not sure if I'm going to keep them. I'm not sure if I'm getting any results. And I used to hate that response because it was annoying. But now I always love to ask the question, well, what don't you like about it? Well, I'm not getting anything from it. Okay, so retargeting, first of all, is a branding play. And if you're not familiar with the AdWorks system, it does a couple different things. And so many people go, yeah, I have it, or I've used it, or I've tried it. But they didn't learn how to unbox the strategy. And that's what I talked about yesterday, was how do you unbox this? So from a sphere campaign or from a retargeting is, Jerry, you could take a list of your emails, of your clients, the clients you've all gotten reviews from and sold stuff to. You said that people are forgettable 2 months from now, and potentially your Uber driver. If I took that list and I put them into my AdWorks campaign under a sphere campaign, it takes those email addresses, finds just those people, and will continue to put your Jerry DeMaio ad on their mobile devices, on Facebook, wherever there are, on credible sites like, CNN, the Weather Channel, CNBC News. And when they start seeing now you after the fact, not only there, but what's the credibility of your ad popping up on like CNN when they're looking at the news? It's ridiculous, right?
Ridiculous.
So the one strategy I shared with somebody that said, you know what, I got to rethink before I even cancel this service because I made them think differently is there's another campaign you can run that's for listings. And any real estate agent that's listening to this, please listen carefully because this is one of the main reasons I would use it from a real estate perspective. So I get a listing, right? I get a good listing and I put it in the listing campaign. Picture of the house, picture of me, my face, phone number, the listing gets advertised and the homeowner themselves gets to also see their home now being advertised to potential buying prospects on major websites across the universe, right? So it's going on, like I said, all the big sites, Huffington Post, Yahoo News, boom. So while that's good, remember, it's not meant to generate leads. So people are expecting like the phone to fall off the hook. It's not what it does. Oh, did I just trigger that? Like the phone and it just rang. How do you like that?
It was timing.
What? I was like, push the button, cue the deer, right? So what happened was I said, listen, yeah, that's valuable. And you have you're getting 40,000 some odd branding views on some of these hits. However, myself, I come from a listing agent mentality, which is what controls the business. I would take the screenshots, and I tell this to everybody, take the screenshots that AdWorks sends you that shows, hey, this home was on Amazon today, and this home was on, and I would have them put into my listing presentation. Imagine. And I'm on a listing presentation with you now, Jerry. I'm trying to win your business. And I say to you, hey, as a homeowner, we want to make sure you get the maximum exposure. And some of the marketing I can do as a real estate agent is I can have your home marketed across these sites. And I show them, not just talk about it, show them, here's a client of mine that we had their home and it's been posted on this one and that one and that one. When they see these valuable, credible sites and soon enough to become their own home marketed there, they're in awe because the second you put their ad into it, they start seeing their own home popping up on these sites as well. So it's ridiculously valuable for listing presentations besides being able to retarget your sphere or anything else for that matter. And when I started talking about this yesterday, even before I got on stage, there were 2 or 3 agents that were like, oh my God, can we record this and write this down? I didn't know you could do that. And I said, no one tells you that you could do that. It's not like a book.
Right.
You just need to think, how do I take a product that does really awesome stuff and unbox it? And that's what we did with it. So guess what? Now they're all going to leverage this on their listing and I said, for whatever it cost me, $100 a month for that campaign, whatever that is, to win listings with it alone is worth it. Never mind getting all the branding exposure and all the hits on my ad being seen. I now can win listings with it. That would be my strategy. So it's working. That works. And producers who are doing it, the impression is ridiculous with the consumer. So that's one of my aha moments. I wanted to share a strategy that's worked the last 12 months, still continues to do that. And I know you're going to be putting some of that into play.
Well, and that brings me into, we talked about, Facebook. Oh. And we've talked about Facebook and so Instagram, I don't really use Twitter. So that's not one of the choices that I use for doing what I do. But I know that I invested in learning how to create real leads with people's information through Facebook, and that was okay. And leads came in, and I ran into the same issue that I always do is, how do I continue to work leads while we're running around looking at houses? I'm running around meeting clients. How do I be staying on so I can generate leads? I can generate leads, but can I manage the leads the way it is? So really what I'm now doing with Facebook and other things, and I found it to be extraordinarily successful, is I don't care anymore if I get there. I'm getting calls on a daily basis from someone who sees me from Facebook. Somebody, a girl who I haven't seen since, a woman now, but she was a girl when I last saw her. Yeah. In high school. Yeah. I don't know that we've ever actually spoken since high school. Is calling me up because she needs a loan for her brother who's now buying a house. I don't know. I've never spoken to her since then, but she knows what I do. And I'm going to plug Mr. Ellick here. Sure. Because because I've never not done a thing and talked about some of the things, because he says you have to meet the people and you have to remind people every day what you do. Because let's talk about those people. And he talks about your parents and your grandparents and all that stuff. Tough to get leads from them if you don't remind you, because they still think of you as the little kid who was messing up their couch or spilt the milk at the table or causing trouble or causing ruckus. And the same thing from the friends from high school and the friends from that. So they need to be reminded every day who Jerry DeMaio is and what he does. Right. And I stay in front of people. And now my ads today are more for organic, for more, I just want to be seen. I want to help my realtors close more deals, because the pre-approval that they are sending over is from a guy that is known. Because one of the biggest things with realtors is, I've never seen this person before. I don't know who this pre-approval is from. I've never seen them before. Right. You're not going to get that with me. Right.
And let's just clarify, because Facebook has a couple roles to it. So obviously you're running some Facebook ads. So you're now saying, not that you don't care about the result of the clicks, but you're getting the visibility, the branding play. But talk about Facebook Live, because that made a big impact a year ago, where you started off, maybe a little longer, you started off with a show that was just pulling it, just starting, right?
Right. And we're still doing it, not as often, honestly, because we both got so busy. Right. And so we're not doing it as much. And every time we see each other, say, okay, we got to do it. We got to do a show. We got to do a show. But we've been running around. So, but Facebook Live, and people are able to come on and ask questions and do all those things. And I still love it. And I don't get to do it as much anymore. Well, we got to kind of get you back on that, because here's where most people get stuck. And this is where I give you a lot of credit for, is when you first started the show, I'm talking day one, and you had to learn how to hit Facebook Live. Look, you went from not even a smartphone to an iPhone to now pushing the button Facebook Live. From that moment, even till now, is anything ever perfect? Nope. In your show? You just did it. You just no. Tom will tell you nothing's ever perfect.
Never.
Nothing's ever perfect.
The stream wasn't great. It was there was too much light. You were just You didn't care, and this is why people succeed with this stuff, and this is why people fail. They worry too much about being perfect, and it never will be. Even in my world, nothing's perfect. I just hit my microphone, that's going to make a noise. Stuff's going to happen. You know, you're on the street, you're like, because you do it so raw, and of course it's got to be professional, but it's raw, it's more believable in today's authentic world. They want to just see you're you, and they really are more intrigued as to where are you really? Oh, you're down at that house, and oh, you're around the corner from the train station. Like, they want to associate with that. And because I watched you do it in a non-perfect way, you just did it, and that's what became successful. It was more consistency and doing it more discipline that got the attraction. I mean, I think I don't know if it was Tom or you that was saying that every time you go to the gas station, people are like, "Oh, I see you all over." Like, was it you?
I just got that recently from someone again. I said, God, Tom and I need to be doing more shows because people are still, like, someone said, oh, I haven't seen as many Tom and Jerry shows and all that. And sometimes you think people aren't watching, and then other times you think you do. And honestly, Jeff, you know what the funny thing is? I know a lot of people go through this because I know I'm not the only one. Every time I have to do a video of any kind, including today, I still get those butterflies in my stomach.
Yeah.
Like I'm a little nervous. Still, I've done probably 1,000 of them over the last, I'm still nervous every time.
Thank God you are. That's good. That's because you actually have the passion for it. If you don't, people still think all the time, oh, do you still get nervous when you go on stage? Yes, I do. And I still think, and I'm prepared, and I'm, can things go wrong? Of course they do. I'm always nervous. I was just on stage. I don't care if it's on stage in front of 20 or 2,000. You get those nerves because you're so passionate about it. And I think if you didn't have them, I'd be worried. I'd be concerned about what your next step would be, So that's a good thing. It's good to, and then, the goal is when stupid stuff happens, or we're at an open house and somebody's dog or kid runs by, you roll with it. Right. Because people want that connection. To me, I think that's even more attractive to a video, is when sometimes things happen. Mm. So your Facebook strategy and your Facebook Live took off very well from a show. And your ads, you're looking at from a perspective, you're saying, of just getting that visibility, not even so much to click through.
Correct. And Facebook has some great retargeting strategies that I'm actually just right now doing things, building video views. Yep. Like building video views, not getting their information yet, not getting anything like that. I made a commitment to taking the next month and building video views.
I don't know if we talked about this strategy, but I want to do it just right here, just live and impromptu, because you made me think about it. So if I said to you, and I know that I think I'm going to watch your face when I say it, do you have time to do a podcast? In your day, do you have time, spare time to do it?
I could. Okay. I could. I guess I could.
Okay.
Do you have to have an iPad to do that?
No, listen to this. This is my strategy to you.
Okay.
Because it's what I'm starting to do too. Our time is too valuable for any of this. And people are like, I don't have time for a podcast. I don't have time for this. I get it.
I want to comment on that for a second, because I do. Because everybody says that I don't have time for it. I don't have time for anything I do either. But it's trying to squeeze in every spare second available to do something. As we're closing 1 million loans and closing all that, I've got to continue doing the things I did to build this up, and I have to force myself on a daily basis, Jeff, to challenge myself to still try to get new business, to still try to find new realtors, to still try to do this, because it's easy to sit back and say, listen, we're closing 18, 20 loans a month. I really don't need any more. Like I could live the rest of my life on what I'm doing now, but listen, I'd be bored, to be honest.
Ain't gonna happen, because you meet every customer face to face. You deliver service beyond anybody else. You spend the time with your clients, like one-on-one. That's the stuff that you love and you do. Right. I'm gonna give you the word that's gonna solve that problem for everybody out there. Time blocking. I saw Amanda jumping on. She's right. Time blocking is huge. But I want you to think about the word repurpose. Repurpose the content. So here's the strategy. You're going to do a Tom and Jerry show, right? So you do your Tom and Jerry show, and that's video based, right? So it's on video. Right. That same video, you already recorded it, spent the time, but guess what also is in part of the video is audio, isn't it?
Yep.
You could simply take the audio part of that video and put that on your podcast without having to record another podcast. So I use like Anchor, for example. I use Anchor. It's a free podcasting platform on my iPhone. It's free.
Right.
And you create your name. So I'm starting to take now the videos that I'm creating that are relevant for people listening. Like you do a Tom and Jerry show, it's answering questions and Q&A and stuff that's interesting to a lot of people. Take that same video you just did and take the audio out of that and make that your podcast. And it puts a little bumper in front of it and a little jingle in front of it, but you don't have to re-say all that stuff again. You don't have to go re-record it again. You spent your 15 minutes doing your show. It's now your YouTube show. It's now on Facebook for your show. And that same audio now becomes your podcast for your show. And you didn't have to do it more than one time.
Yeah.
How's that?
It's something to add, we're gonna put it add it to the mix.
You didn't sound very excited about it though. Repurposing. I just don't want you to have to go do something again. Like
I understand
a third thing. So.
And listen, I'm not the best Listen, I have a lot of things. I'm not the best technology guy out there. Like
we know. We know.
I'm not the best technology guy, but I had to force myself to learn this. I started in the business. When I started selling real estate, there was no Zillow. There was no, I didn't get any leads that way. I had to do it all. And then I went through that stage, and I'm sure a lot of realtors are out there like this, and some are, who were stubborn to open their minds to new things, Right. And then honestly, I started to get passed by a
That's
little.
Right.
I could feel myself getting passed by. And 2 years ago, with your help, I decided I was going to reinvent myself a little bit. Still with all the knowledge, try to take the new and the really good of the old, because I still believe in it.
Sure.
Like I'm going to talk about the shirt and tie every day, the jacket and tie every day. You'll never see me in my office ever. It could be a Sunday morning at 10 a.m. with no clients coming in. I put my suit and tie on. I come into the office, so I feel like I'm going to work.
Okay.
And that there's no this is work, and I love work. So this isn't a big challenge for me.
Well, bottom line is you have to, and it's not for everybody, but if that's what gets you going and that makes you feel in your wheelhouse and in your environment, that's what you do. If it took, I have to wear a bow tie to feel good, or I have to wear dress shoes. Like if that's what you have to, I think the message to everybody is find out what your mojo is. And when you feel that way and you feel like you're at work and in that mode, you're going to be productive with stuff versus coming in, you come in shorts and slacks and you're feeling casual and your feet are up. If that's what gets you going, you fire that up. That's your thing. So I think we covered a bunch so far. I have one. Do you have any? I have one more strategy I want to share. I think that's.
Go ahead, Jeff. Yep, I got one after that.
Okay, good. So the one that I've noticed a lot is, people really have poor databases. They're just terrible. You ask most real estate agents, it's in a spreadsheet somewhere or a CRM they've never logged into in 6 months or something. And there's a lot of power in getting people's phone number because that's like their private, like this is my phone number. I don't want to give you my phone number. And we kind of disregarded emails as just another email as junk mail. However, the power of having an email is getting more and more important today. And remind me, I actually have another AdWorks tip that made me just think of email addresses. So let me come back to that. When we're talking about email addresses, though, with all of the big data available, the terminology, and an email can now, with the proper type systems, like let's take companies like First.io, right? So First.io is in the business of taking your whole database of emails, the 500 or 1,000 people that you would probably not talk to that often, and instead of dripping on them and doing all that nonsense, it could take that email and it finds the personal data of that person, their life events, what's happening, how much money they're earning or not earning. Did something happen? Do they have equity in their mortgage or no equity? And it simply takes all those thousands of people you have and does the predictive data saying, hey, you got 1,000, but these 10 or 12 or 15 people, which are manageable phone calls and follow-ups, you might want to start talking to more often, or you might want to trigger a hello because something's going on in their world they might be looking to buy or sell. And knowing that we're never going to call our 800-person database anyway, big data is getting smarter with AI and everything else, that email address, that simple Gmail address, is the predictive conduit to it all. So I say it's not just the beginning. It's stuff's working now. So we have clients getting better conversions from it. But what it's doing is it's making your database more manageable. It's giving you who I should be talking to with better predictions and better analytics. And it's only going to get smarter in the next 12 months and 24 months. So if you don't have your data and emails together, and every email you get, I'm talking from an open house and this and that, put it together in a darn folder properly and get it into your database, because they will be the sales and the business you will have in the next 2, 3, 5 years. And that's where we misconstrue. Now, let me just tell you the tip before I go back to yours on an email. So I was talking about AdWorks before, right? This is one of the magical parts of the campaigns of retargeting that I didn't even think of until I had to unbox it as well from AdWorks. So if I have an AdWorks retargeting campaign, and let's say I'm targeting my sphere, right? It's got the email addresses, the ads running in front of all the people I have email addresses for, but I'm at an open house and I get 10 people that sign into my open house, right? They sign in, I get a name, I get an email address. It's so easy to take those 10 people. When I send them a thank you note, like, hey, thanks so much for coming by the open house, AdWorks gives me a special unique email that if I take that unique email code and I put it in the BCC, the blind carbon copy. So I say, hey, thanks, Jerry, for coming by my open house. Really appreciate your time, blah, blah, blah. And I put my AdWorks email in the blind carbon copy. Automatically, you're now added to my campaign. And you will start seeing my ads a day later, 2 days later after you left my open house. So it's an email identifier that just automatically puts it into the campaign, which is fantastic. I don't have to go entering them in. I don't have to get fancy with anything. So I didn't want to lose sight of that because that's a really important strategy when you want to add people.
Right.
To go back to the first .io stuff, that's the power of having an email address. Email addresses and having an organized data that can start to tell me where I should be spending my time and on which people I should do it with. So those are working. It's only going to get better, man. We got to save emails big time.
Yeah, well, listen, you talk about most of my career, I was horrible keeping my database together, like you said, and now I've got 3 years of getting database, and the amount of information I have and storage of that has been great. And again, so much of what we always talk about, Jeff, even you and I just now, is how are we getting more like about getting more leads or getting more information about people and all that. And my commitment to this year, and I'm saying it now, so next year, this time we're going to talk about it. My commitment this year is to be an animal at following up on every possible lead I can. Because if you're like me, and I have a couple really good, so you got the lead that comes in on the $80,000 property.
Yep.
In the flood zone.
Yeah.
And because we have one in our area on Zillow that we get 1 million leads on. I'm like we were going to chip in and buy the house together so we could stop getting leads on that house because so many leads are coming in on that one house and we can't, and everyone's sick of answering the call.
Right.
But the 2 best leads I have in my entire career, I was 1 month into the business and I got a lead. Okay, this is in 2004, and I got a lead from a mortgage guy who I was playing basketball in the morning with, in the shower, at the gym, said, oh, Jerry, I got this guy from Athens, Greece, and he wants to buy some investment properties from you. Now, I don't know if you remember 04, but prices on investment properties were through the roof, and you couldn't make a return in a million years. And I said, oh, great. I took the guy's number. He was living in Athens, Greece. So the next day, the guy said, oh, you never called the guy. He called me, said you never called. I'm like, oh, jeez. So I called the guy in Athens, Greece. And a week later, he bought 11 properties from me, sight unseen, in Trenton. I had to take pictures of all the properties and send them to it. He was a Greek shipper, and he was looking for somewhere to move some money and buy some places. And what I got from that lead, a guy buying in Trenton, these properties were in Trenton, New Jersey.
Yep.
Out of my area.
Yep.
what I got from that lead, what I would have considered an awful lead at that time, and if today I probably would blow it off, like because I think I'm too busy to be wasting my time on that. What I got from that lead is I became the king of Trenton because all the landlords in Trenton that were trying to sell thought that I had the key to all the buyers. I was bringing all these buyers to Trenton, and I got like 50 listings and all that. And all of a sudden, I had a real estate career, Jeff.
Wow.
And I don't know that if I didn't follow up on that lead, that I may be in another business today.
That's right. It can all shaped out.
My point is, how many of those leads do we all miss? Because we're not willing to take just a little bit of time to see what it'll work out to. I'm guilty. Even knowing what I know, I'm guilty. I like to cherry pick my leads.
Sure.
And you never know the lead that's going to change your life if you don't pick up the phone and call it.
That's fantastic. That's a great story. I didn't know that story actually. So
you're
right. It was your career launch.
Career launch.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
Career launch.
That's
I became
fantastic.
like a rookie legend in the business and all that. And it almost never happened. I could be doing something else right now.
Yeah.
So and I got to remind myself of these stories. Listen, know what they say? Tell yourself your own story sometimes.
That's right.
To figure out what you need to be doing better.
That's right. Well, I don't know if you have anything left on the strategy session. Do you have one more or no? You good?
I think listen, listen, anyone on here, and I know I have some friends and some people I work with. So my goal isn't always to add new. No. Yeah, new leads, new this. How about do better with what I have? And I'm going to make a commit. I'm going to make a commitment today, a new commitment, and I'm going to ask all my realtor friends and all like if we all make a better commitment to ourselves to really work the leads we have better. And if we get more, I don't need more leads. I need to work the leads I have better. And I'm gonna make it, whether that's through a lot of the new systems we have and a lot of the new processes we have. And if it, it's about, touching them on Facebook, staying in touch with them, like finding out, there's things I need to do to continue doing better. Because I'd like to double my business again. Yeah. But that's not going to be real easy. No, that could put me in a pretty special place. I have a great staff. I have Barbara. I have Joe, who's been with me for years and is wonderful. And I have my wife, who's wonderful, and because without their support and without everything, like I'm nothing. Right. If my wife doesn't let me stay and work and go crazy, like I'm in trouble. So it's a whole team, and the team I have here gets the deals, helps me. I can't tell you how wonderful they are. So if you don't have great people you're working with, it's not real easy to do these. So if you're not happy with who you're working with as a strategy session, you need to get someone. And if you want to be a higher end producer, you better get people who are good working with you. Right. So if I'm a real estate agent, the goal is you're going to help them grow their business more. You don't need more. Help them go from 2 deals a month to 4 transactions a month. Help them work more, because as they get bigger, you get bigger, and then in turn works in partnership versus just a connection. That's right. Really, and not about adding new real. But what the nice thing about having the people I work with, and they're great. They don't bother me. They don't bother me. They know that myself and my team are here, killing ourselves to make sure that loan gets closed. And we kill ourselves. We kill ourselves to make sure we make the dates and do all that stuff. Right. And you know what happens when you get I get a new person? Now I got to put it, and then I find out the new person I got is someone that calls you 1,900 times a day to check on every single thing and doesn't let you get your job done. Right. So I don't need more of those. Right. I don't need those. You want more people. You want more real estate agents that want to actually put trust in you. You put trust in them, right. And they want to actually. Trust is earned. So I understand why when you're bringing on someone new, you got to deal with all that because it's earned. But the ones I work with, they don't bother me. They I know you got it. In fact, I got one. He don't want to hear anything about the loan. He don't want to hear anything. He just wants to work on the next deal, which is really what we all need to be doing. Fantastic way to end that. So let me just recap. If I could recap in 2 minutes, and we'll wrap up for everybody. We started off with how to handle leads better and how to respond to leads better, get conversation started. We had one of the strategies. Call action was one of the solutions. We talked about
Zillow, the conversion from getting emailed to a warm lead. While there's still a debate out there, your preference is still getting a warm lead because they're on the phone ready to go. I talked about some ad work strategies of using the screen shares and the screen captures to go out and win listings with it. And also retargeting, being able to retarget your, competitive agents, your broker agents, whoever you want to be in front of. Let's see. We also talked about, what was our third thing? I talked about, Facebook Live, how Facebook generating the live show gave you notoriety, very authentic and raw. We talked about the power of having an email address because of big data companies like First.io. And I think we covered a good majority of what's working for most people this year. And if it's not, find a way to make it work, because go talk to the people who are making it work. There's sometimes the way you're using something may not be the end all or the right expectation of what product you actually have. So on that note, man, I can only appreciate Jerry so much here on this call. I appreciate you very much.
I appreciate Jeff. Been a great one. When we keep doing this next year, the ones are coming back. I'm going to be asking everybody, and it's on recorded. So I'm not going to come on here and say I blew it. So you're accountable.
Which is great. And we do a lot of work together, so we see each other often. But in the meantime, if we can help, reach out, Jeff at SparkTank Media. If you have any questions for Jerry, what's your best way to get you, Jerry? Just catch me on Facebook. I was just going to say Facebook or Google.
Message me on Facebook, or you can text me. Listen, go on Facebook is Jerry DeMaio and reach out. And
actually, you use Messenger quite a bit too. You're a Messenger fanatic, which I love.
Well, that's because you taught me.
I know. You taught me. All right, everyone. Thanks for your time, for watching. I appreciate all you guys. We're going to record this, save it. Feel free to share it. We love you guys sharing this out as well. And I appreciate you, Jerry. See you all soon.
Thanks, Jeff.
Later. See ya.
Bye.